What's going on, everybody? It's going to be a relatively fast show tonight, but I do have some stuff I wanted to talk about real quick. Now, our numbers on YouTube are going to be super low tonight because I didn't realize that I posted too many videos today, and that kills all my notifications. So our viewership's going to be low because nobody's going to know we're live. You know, that's how it works. But anyway, let's talk about some of the stuff that's happening in this country right now because things are weird. You know what I mean? Things are weird. I noticed an increase in like anti-Russia, pro-Ukraine stuff on social media today, which was interesting, considering everything else that's happened with, you know, the Russian fighter jets near Alaska and the Russian fighter jets over the Netherlands and the nuclear tanks that are nuclear submarines that are now in the Bering Sea. Like all of the little stuff that's going on, I realized that they've kind of ramped up the rhetoric that you see on social media. And does that lead us to another, does that lead us to the point where something is dire? Because we're going on the year anniversary of when Russia invaded Ukraine. And I saw reporting earlier that Ukraine was, or that Russia is sending all their aircraft and helicopters and planes and everything closer to the Ukrainian border, which is prompting a lot of, and they have 1,800 tanks lined up at the border, it's kind of seeming like Russia is going to make a big stand here. And I don't know, I don't know. And I think the way the media I don't know if the media's covered it because, to be honest, I didn't listen to the news today. I've only been following what's on social media while I've been doing other things. But it's interesting. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Do you think that Russia is going to escalate any more than what they already have, and they're going to try to do a big run on Ukraine? Because that's what I'm thinking, right? That's what the United States is kind of positioning, that they're going to, that's what's going to happen. At least the trolls and stuff on Twitter are doing that. The people on Twitter are seemingly, the people on Twitter are definitely pushing a lot more of that same rhetoric. So I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But I see a lot of weird stuff going on social media. And I was paying, because now you have Ohio stuff, you've got, and then you have obviously this Norwegian story. So I suppose I should talk about this first. NORAD released a statement today saying the Alaska region of North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, detected, tracked, and positively identified and intercepted 4 Russian aircraft entering and operating within the Alaska Air Defense Identification Zone today. Well, yesterday, actually, February 13th. Russian aircraft remained in international airspace and did not enter American or Canadian sovereign airspace. The Russian activity in North America, ADIZ, occurs regularly and is not seen as a threat, but it's always made as a story. And in all reality, anything Russia does right now should be perceived as a threat to anybody, especially the United States, who, Russia has repeatedly said, hey, if you keep escalating what's going on in Ukraine, you keep providing all this military support, you are going to become our enemy. Russia's repeatedly said that, and then the United States is like, hold my beer, let's give more money. Screw over all the veterans and all the people that are living on the streets in the United States. Let's send, $100 billion to Ukraine, because that makes a whole hell of a lot of sense, right? Anyway, the Russian aircraft remained in international airspace and did not enter the American or Canadian sovereign airspace. Again, Russian activity on that Alaskan area in international waters coming close to the United States airspace is something that is common. It happens all the time. I think a couple of months ago, wasn't there a big, Russian ship with a fighter jet as well that was coming kind of close, and they scrambled jets up there, which is interesting. It's not seen as a threat, according to NORAD, but and I don't know why they said that, because they anticipated the Russian activity and resulted in as a result of our planning, it was prepared to intercept it. But they said it wasn't a threat, but they did launch 2 NORAD F-16 fighters. Supporting NORAD aircraft included 2 F-35A fighters, 1 E-3 Sentry, and 2 KC-135 Stratotankers. So For them not being for them not seeing it as a threat, they sent up what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 different aircraft to go, stop this non-threat that's happening, which is crazy. And this wasn't the only one. Norwegian authorities sent up 4 fighter jets because a bunch of Russian fighters were flying in Norwegian airspace, I believe. And I think Poland did the same thing, didn't they? Didn't Poland have to, where Russian jets were flying over Poland in the past couple of days? I believe so. I could be wrong on the Poland thing, but I believe so. It's interesting, though, that they've sent up all of this military equipment for something that they don't perceive as a threat, while single-handedly shooting down 3 things that they're not willing to identify, and now they're saying they're not going to be able to recover. Those 3 UFOs or unidentified flying objects or high-altitude balloons or whatever the hell you want to call them. The United States military is now saying they're probably not going to be able to recover them, and therefore there's not going to be any pictures, although there hasn't been any pictures of these things that have been verified anyway. And I believe they said they were going to release some of the imagery of these things, but they're not going to. You know what I mean? Why would they? That would require transparency, and our government does not believe in transparency with the American people. However, they do believe in transparency with our enemies, like giving... Well, whatever. I'll stop, because I don't understand why what's happening in Ukraine is even happening. I don't understand why our involvement with Ukraine is happening. That's the one thing I can't. And I hate saying it because it makes me feel like annoyed. I guess it makes me feel bad saying it because I know civilians are dying. But now you saw there was an article that came out today. Fox News actually wrote it. Saying that 1,000 Russian troops are dying per day, and the biggest battle cost 5,000 Russian troops in one day. And that was back in January, right? And they said all the information that they got to gather that was from the UK, who got the information from the Ukrainian military, which would make sense, right? If you're running a big PSYOP, you want to give the world the impression that Ukraine is doing very, very, very well. I'm not saying they're not, but you want to give the world the impression that Ukraine is doing very, 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 very well against Russia, and that they're being successful in beating back Russia, so that way when they ask for more money to continue to defeat Russia, they're going to continue sending the money, right? And it works. I mean, we've given them $100 billion. They have all sorts of tanks and troops, and at the German, it's a United States Air Base in Germany right now. They have all this military equipment they're sending up. They're sending to Ukraine, which is pretty interesting. I mean, there's billions and billions of dollars worth of equipment that we've already sent over to Ukraine. And what does happen? Do we lose all that capability when Russia does? So here's the thing. No one's really talked about this. Say Russia does say, okay, enough is enough, and they launch an all-out war on Ukraine. At what point do we, as in American society, at what point do we say, okay, that's enough, we're going in? Right? Because you have to think it's going to happen. You heard General Milley, the Chinese Chi-Com, the 4-star general in America, but he works for the benefit of China, in my humble opinion. You heard him today talking about how Russia's, suffering a staggering defeat and blah, 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 blah. And I saw a weird caption on the video. It said that Kiev is going to fall in 3 days, which didn't happen, and it hasn't happened. And it also leads me to believe, how come if Russia has all these fighter jets, right, and the MiGs and all that, isn't Top Gun based on like going after Russian MiG jets and all that? How come those Russian aircraft haven't been used in this war? Nobody else? Does anyone know that? Why haven't Russian aircraft been used in this war so far? Or maybe they have, but I don't think so. You don't hear. Well, I guess planes are being shot down. Yeah, I guess they are being used. You hear about that every now and then. It's just not as much. You're not hearing about it as much as you would think if there is a big conflict going on, where they would be sending all these jets over and trying to shoot everybody down. Right? Or at least that's my perception of it. But, there seems to be an escalation going on in Russia right now, or in Ukraine or something, because I've noticed that the trolls on social media, the trolls on YouTube, are being super hyperbolic about their rhetoric now. Like there's videos, and it comes on both sides, both Russian and Ukrainian, siding Twitters, whatever, people that are backing both sides. Like, you see one where it's Ukrainian soldiers that are giving a Nazi symbol, and then you see the sympathizers of Russia saying it's not a Nazi symbol. He's merely waving hello, even though he already waved hello right before he did that. So that's like some of the rhetoric that you're going on. And now I read one thing where it's like out of desperation because after suffering massive losses on the battlefield, Russia is now just blatantly killing civilians. But then again, then you'll see another video of Ukrainian military going through Odessa, I believe it is, and they're literally grabbing young men off of the streets who don't want to go fight, and they're literally dragging them away, telling them they're going to be soldiers, while single-handedly saying that Russia is releasing prisoners, and those prisoners are being told that they have to go fight or die. So it's weird. It's this weird propaganda mix back and forth between what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. And we're going to all have to wait and see, you know. The latest update that everyone is all freaking out about on social media is that the Norwegian authorities are really worried that for the first time in 30 years, Russia has apparently launched nuclear submarines in the Bering Sea. I believe it was the Bering Sea. Nuclear submarines. And it's the first time in 30 years that they've done this, and this is a huge escalation, and they're worried, are all these nuclear submarines, are they going to end up, shooting nuclear weapons all over the place? Is this going to be like Russia, just, Putin just being like, all right, enough is enough, we're just going to press that button? I don't think so. But how long do you think it'll be? Say Russia does make a big offensive, right? Say Russia starts using all their tanks and the 1,800 tanks that they have lined up at the Ukrainian border, and they launch all these fighter jets and bombers, and, we have the stealth bomber. Doesn't Russia have something similar? You know what I mean? And think about that. With all the war and all the conflict and everything that's happening in Russia, I don't really think we're seeing a lot about, Russian fighter jets being shot down, or even Russian fighter jets hitting targets as much as you would think, especially based on, maybe it's just movies, but I would think based on everything that we've learned about these two countries is that there would be more, There would be more, fighter jets being shot down and Russian helicopters being shot down, like all the time. And mind you, in the beginning there was. Remember, because they would send videos of Ukrainian soldiers that are not visible, shooting missiles up into the sky and shooting down Russian helicopters and Russian fighter jets and all that. Remember, we all see those, but then again, you gotta understand that when those videos came out, everybody, the Ukrainian troll farms on social media retweeted those and saying like, oh yeah, we're winning. And then, the Russians are like, that's not our jet. And then, the internet sleuths were like, yeah, that's from a video game. And that happened a lot. Like it would show bodies in the street, and then we find out that it's not, because, once you zoom in, you see it's like a picture from Africa or something like that. There's all sorts of weird stuff that's going on. It's all sorts of weird stuff. Tommy 2x4 on YouTube said, I don't think Russia is doing as bad as the mainstream media would have you believe. Since they have shut Russia down from getting information out, they control every aspect of the information. Yes. And it's weird because all of the data sources that are coming out of Ukraine are from the Ukrainian military. So of course the Ukrainian military is going to report that they're killing 1,000 Russians a day, because it's going to make them, in the eyes of the world, seem much more productive than what it could potentially actually be happening. And we know that there's a lot. There's been, retired generals and all these people that are with the United States government, or formerly with the United States government in a military capacity, saying, listen, all the weapons and everything that we've sent to Russia, where the hell are they? Where the hell are they? And then we know that we sent forward operating, that was a big one a couple of months ago. Remember, we sent people down on the ground and they said there weren't, or there are people there for limited training, like our special forces guys. And then there was some lieutenant colonel that went on on the news, and he's like, no, those are advanced, soldiers. Those are, they're there because it's the same thing we did in Afghanistan. We put troops down, special forces, and what they do is they plan where we're going to do landings. They plan and they stage all of our military equipment. Think about it. If we really have sent over $100 billion, let's say $50 billion, say $100 billion or $50 billion was in cash, the other $50 billion is with military equipment, and it's just sitting over in Russia or Ukraine, because we're not hearing a terrible amount about all these tanks and armored vehicles and all the stuff that we're sending. We're not hearing a tremendous amount about how successful they're being. At least I'm not seeing it online. But what was interesting, or what is an interesting take on this whole thing, is what some people are saying, is that no, we were sending all this military equipment to Ukraine and staging it there for when we send troops and NATO sends troops in. Because keep in mind, don't we have 120,000 troops in all the neighboring NATO countries? I believe so. I think the Poland border, don't we have 50 or 60,000 troops there right now? It's crazy, man. I don't care who you are. It's crazy enough. It's crazy. I don't care who you are right there. That's crazy. But I think there's a lot of hyperbole, as I like to say it that way. Hyperbole surrounding this whole thing. And I've noticed there's been an uptick in rhetoric, right? So does that mean that Russia is going to go into Ukraine, or Russia is going to make a big offensive towards Ukraine? Because, who knows? Who knows? And remember, here's a really good example of the misinformation, because we first heard that Russia shot missiles into Poland and killed farm workers. Remember that? And that's the way everyone reported. Everyone said it was a big escalation. They attacked a NATO partner, blah, 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 blah. And then the story changed, right? Because then the people, and it was basically discovered by internet people that zoomed in on the fragments at the scene and were able to be like, wait, that missile was made in Ukraine. And because they were able to see where the missile was made, right? And then they're like, wait, that was made in Ukraine. So that means that Russia wasn't the one, or that Ukraine was selling, their missiles to Russia, who was then trying to use them against Ukraine, right? And then it became clear that no, this missile actually originated from just south or just north of Kiev. And they're like, well, Russia doesn't have troops just south or north of Kiev, and that this missile was likely used to try to stop Russian artillery that was flying into Kiev that day, right? But it went crazy and it missed its target and flew into Poland and killed the farm worker. And then finally, the United States government came out and said, yes, that's what happened. That's what Poland said as well, said it was not an escalation from Russia, although it was an escalation from Russia because they were trying to bomb Kiev, and Ukraine shot this weapon up to try to stop it. Remember? And then I think right before the media stopped talking about it, because they don't care about reporting anything honestly, right before they stopped talking about it, the Ukrainian government said, well, it's still Russia's fault, because if they weren't shooting us, we wouldn't have had to shoot, at them, and therefore it's all Russia's fault, and the Polish deaths are on their hands, right? It's just crazy. All the stuff that goes on and the back and forth between everything. It's really hard nowadays to find, what's really happening, because especially out there too. And then you have all this controversy with Elon Musk and Starlink when it comes to Ukraine. How many of you guys have been paying attention to that? Elon Musk came out publicly, and he's not allowing, well, let's say it this way. He's restricting access to his Starlink satellite systems. Now, you may remember when last November, when this Russian incursion into Ukraine first happened, they knocked out all power. People on social media called for Elon Musk to send the Starlink satellite dishes there so that civilians could get the message out and everything. Of course, Elon Musk did exactly what, and for a supply chain movement, amazing what he did. He had Starlinks on the ground in 3 days, and they were unloading containers of Starlinks on the ground in Ukraine during attacks in 3 days. And as a supply chain nerd, like how they did that is amazing. They must have already had them in a warehouse close by or something like that. But that was amazing, because Elon Musk tweeted and he's like, yes, we should send him. And then 3 days later, they're offloading him. But the big controversy right now, and a lot of the Ukrainian people that are like super, or not the Ukrainian people, sorry, the American people or the American talking heads that are super like, oh, Ukraine, all those people are going out and they're calling out Elon Musk, because Elon Musk is restricting access to, and I don't know the exact technical terms, but essentially what he's doing is he's like, listen, we're going to allow, the Starlinks aren't there for the military to use. The Starlinks aren't there for the military to take advantage of, send drones into Russia. He basically came out, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said the Starlinks will not be used to further the path that it seems like we're going down towards World War III. He was direct and said that, and which I think is great. And it's interesting because so many people are like, no, Elon Musk, you must, as a business here in America, you must supply and give Ukraine, even though Ukraine is getting $100 billion or over $100 billion in financial support from the U.S. alone in the past year. Everyone is saying that Starlink should be providing their service, their satellites and everything for completely free. and nobody should have to pay for it. You know, it's just really weird. It's really weird. And it's weird considering he donated all those Starlinks too. And then the people that he donated them to are not even allowed to use them. The military took them and they're using them to try to navigate, you know, drones into Russian soldiers who are eating dinner or something like that. You know what I mean? And make no mistake, dude, I'm not a fan of terrorists, okay? I'm not, and when you blow up a car in downtown Russia and kill civilians, guess what? You're a terrorist. And that's exactly what the Ukrainian military did. Or Ukraine, some group of the Ukrainian. You know, they did that. They killed the diplomat's daughter, right? Or he wasn't even a diplomat. He was like an oligarch or something like that. Killed his daughter in a car bombing, which they denied, said it wasn't them. And then CIA said, yes, it was. We confirmed it was you. And then there was that bridge bombing. Remember that? The bridge that went from Crimea into Russia. And a truck blew up. Remember that? And there was video of the truck blowing up. And everyone was like, oh, no, it looked like it blew up from the bottom. Nope, it was the truck that blew up. But the Ukrainian military said that wasn't us. That was Russia blowing up their own trade lines, which doesn't make any freaking sense anyway. And then the United States came out and said, we figured out it was Ukraine. Ukrainians like, oh, you caught us again. Send us more money. So I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff. Like, listen, if you're going to have war and it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But like, and the thing that pisses me off the most is they're all saying that Russia is, you know, killing civilians and shooting apartment complexes and all that stuff. There was one video that I saw, which was really, really cool. Well, it wasn't really cool, but it was really telling, I guess is the easiest way to say it, where it showed an apartment building, right? And in the courtyard of the apartment building are cannons and all that, whatever the hell they're called. You know, missile launchers. I don't know what the hell they are. Rocket launchers. There you go. And they're all in the middle of this courtyard surrounded by apartment buildings. And then the very next day, you see this story that was posted on the media, and it shows the very same apartment complex that all those missile launchers and everything are gone, and the apartment complex is leveled. And they said, 11 civilians were killed. The Russians are targeting civilians. Isn't that what has happened in like Afghanistan and all the other countries where the enemy or where people use human shields? That's apparently, allegedly, you know, what's going on in Ukraine now. And it's not Russian troops that are using them as human shields, which is weird. I'm not saying, and I'm not pro-Russia, I'm not pro-Ukraine, I'm pro-America. I think everything that's going on over there should stay over there. I don't care about what's going on over there. They say it has national security implications here. You know it has national security implications here? Heroin. You know it has national security implications here? Fentanyl. You know it has national security implications here? Antifa, that are going out and shooting people. You know what has national security implications here? The sheer amount of poverty that's causing people to go out and kill each other at nightclubs because they don't know how to fight. You know what is a national security issue here? The fact that so many families are single-parent families, and most teenage boys don't have male role models, so they grow up like sissies and don't know how to fight with their hands. That's a national security here because we're going to lose our country. But don't worry, we'll send all of our money to Ukraine because that's more important to the people that are actually making all the money off of war. You see what kind of mood I'm in today? Because that's the truth. That's the truth. Whether you like it or not. I mean, guys, I spit the truth with an F because it is. People don't like to hear the truth anymore. I don't give a shit about Ukraine. I don't give a shit about Russia. I think it's horrible what's happening to the Ukrainian citizens, the innocents. I think it's horrible what's happening to them. But how come we're not talking about the fact that the reasons why Russia said they went into Ukraine were the very same reasons why the U.S. essentially had an embargo on funding the Azov Battalion in 2019 here in the United States? Tell me why. Tell me why we had proclamations in Congress to not allocate any money that we sent to Ukraine for defense to be earmarked to go. We actually prevented it by law for them to, the money that we were giving, appropriating from Congress in 2018, 2019, we prevented the Ukrainian government, well, we tried to prevent the Ukrainian government to give any of the money that we were giving them to use for the battalion that's accused of doing all the same things that Russia accused them of. And do you know why we put that proclamation in place? Do you know why we forbid the money from going to the Azov battalion? It's because we accused them of doing the same thing that Russia did. But in 3 years, apparently that's changed. The 3 years, it doesn't matter anymore because now the war lobby, we're getting out of Iraq, we're getting out of Afghanistan, all these people that made millions and millions and billions of dollars with the war in Afghanistan and Iraq, they're like, shit, money's drying up. We got to go create another conflict. And that's exactly what they're doing. And now think about it. With all these drawdowns, they need congressional approval to send money. But you know what? They don't need congressional approval? These presidential drawdowns. You know what that means? They take weapons from our troops here, right? Decommissioned or draw down weapons. So basically it means like, let's just use a good example, like a good M4A1, right? But it's old. It still works, still fully functional, still works, perfectly because their soldiers are awesome and they keep the guns in working condition. But they say, hey, you know what? That's an older gun, so we're going to go give that to Ukraine. We don't have to earmark it. We just keep a rough calculation on it. And then we're going to go buy from the gun lobby, or not the gun lobby, we're going to go buy from the military industrial complex that new M4A1S. And that's the one we're going to actually give to our troops, right? It's the same thing with the tanks. Ukrainian Zelensky kept asking over and over and over. And what's with the images of Zelensky cross-dressing? I mean, that is really, really concerning. But anyway, Zelensky asked, I guess he did it for money, okay? That sounded bad. I guess he did it when he was acting on a show for money. So, whatever. And isn't it weird? Because aren't gay people in Ukraine prevented from serving in the military, or trans people or something like that? I think so. Something like that. Or maybe no, they're not, they're prevented. But there's something going on with gay people too. Oh, no, that's right. There was like a gay bar or something. They beat, and Jewish people too. That was in eastern or western Ukraine, where there was a video that depicted a bunch of Ukrainian men beating up Jewish men that were at a bar or at some place. There's so much propaganda all over the place. It's sad. It's sad. It really is. And the fact is that the only people that are making money off of this conflict are all the war lobby. They're the ones who are sending all the money. They're the ones who are making all the money, all the government procurement and all that stuff. They're making bank. And you know what they want? They want the conflict to go even crazier. They want us to have boots on the ground. They want American lives because that means they make more money. And it's sad. It's sad as hell. I don't will for the war to continue, and I think it's horrible what's happening to the truly innocent people in Ukraine. But I don't know why we're there. I don't know why. And for anyone that's like, oh, we're not there, bullshit. That AWOL, that AWOL Navy SEAL, right? Oh yeah, he just went AWOL in 2019 and disappeared off of the face of the earth, and then he reappeared fighting in Ukraine for the Ukrainian government. It doesn't make any damn sense. He worked for the CIA. He got killed over there. They, put out a smear campaign calling him AWOL and all that stuff and ran his name through the mud. If that doesn't make anyone worry about joining any special forces, teams in the military right now, holy shit. Because that's true. That just happened a couple of weeks ago. And there's a big outcry because another, I think, U.S. military veteran was just killed on the streets there tragically. And they say he was a U.S. aid worker. All right. And then you see a zoom in that was captured by the New York Times or some news outlet where you see a zoom in with showing the missile right before it hit these people and blew them up. And they were all wearing military fatigues. Everyone's like, it's a war crime. They went after health people and blah, blah, blah. And I get that. It's a horrible thing that's happening there. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm desensitized. I don't want to get into a conflict. I don't want another long-lasting, stupid-ass war that we should have no reason for being there. And here's my idea, and I'm pretty good with these predictions, right? I was right about, last night's mass shooting. Here's another prediction. We will have boots on the ground in Ukraine in 3 months from now. That is my prediction. We will have we already have boots on the ground, but we're going to have they will deploy troops over there. I guarantee it. I guarantee what's going to end up happening. They're going to stage some big ass shit or some big ass conflict is going to happen, and they're just going to say, okay, enough is enough. We can't allow this to continue somehow. Or they will stage something, a NATO ally will get attacked, and the first second an American troop, an active duty American troop is injured over there or killed, in a neighboring ally or, neighboring country or something, we're going to go. That's my humble belief. And so when I'm speaking out, I don't want American lives lost over something that shouldn't be happening, over something that's none of our fucking business, to be completely honest with you. I don't know what changed from 2019 to 2022 to make it our business, except Joe Biden took office and, with the Burisma shit and Hunter Biden and Ukrainian government, they're really, in cahoots. So maybe that's why it's now our business, but I don't think it should be our business. And I wish that our military, I wish that the elected officials, Lindsey Graham the other day was on one of the news channels and he's got a U.S. and Ukrainian flag. And he wears that while he's working. And listen, if you want to support Ukraine, support Ukraine. But these guys, they want war just as much as anyone else. That's why they're all millionaires now. They're all millionaires because all the lobbying, getting all the money and all this stuff. Of course. That's why they want war. None of them care about any of us. That's been the common talking point over the past couple of months, hasn't it? That they don't care about any of us. Because it's true. They don't. Before I switch over to the next topic, I have to tell you something, okay? We didn't reach our goal yesterday or today with new members. We got them scrolling down below. We didn't reach our goal yesterday or today, and I need you guys to become members. Super important to become a member on puretruthcoffee.com. Monthly members, yearly members, 6-month members. If we get 3 6-month or yearly members today, we're giving out a free year of coffee, but we're still 3 away from doing it. And we need it because that allows me to continue doing the show. It allows me to continue talking about all this stuff and not really have to go all the way. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get to 100, monthly members. We're about a quarter of the way there. Once we get to 100 monthly members, I can go out and buy a Sprinter van and do mobile coffee orders. Once we get to 200 monthly members, I can open another store in Northern Virginia as well. Once we get to 300 members, I can open another store, maybe in North Carolina. I'm thinking Wilmington. Then we can open another store and another store and another store. The 4th store will probably be in Texas. Say April has something to do all day. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to do. And that's why we need you guys. So April, please plug the shit out of that link. And guys, if you value what I'm saying, even if you sign up for the monthly coffee plan, it's $40. You get 3 bags of the best coffee you've ever had, guaranteed, or your money back. And you're supporting us. You get free shipping, a 10% discount. If you do the yearly bundle, that's the best one. You get 22% off plus free shipping on 3 or more bags per month. And it really helps us. So if you like this, we have a shit ton of people watching right now, which is great because we didn't have notifications on YouTube, I don't believe. But if you do watch this and you do just and you're saying, man, how come everybody doesn't talk like this guy? Go do it. You know what I mean? If you're thinking about sending me a super chat or anything, don't. Stop what you're doing. Just go join our coffee club. That's like sending me, think about it this way. All the people that do the $5 super chats every day, you signing up for the coffee plan is like you sending a $5 super chat for 8 days. It makes more sense for you just to get the coffee because then you're getting a product too. I want to see everyone go. All right, the link's in the chat. And if it's not, I'm going to spam it in there. And so is April. And so is all of my mods. We're going to spam it in there. Because we got to do it. Someone said, be careful of North Carolina because they've had 7 students die since the beginning of the year or semester. I don't know what you're talking about. And that wasn't really clear. Oh, by the way, too, if you don't want coffee, say you don't like coffee, but you like hoodies, right? Boom, boom. I got this hoodie. I have always never done that on during live streams, and I just did. So whatever, first time in 3 years of live streaming, I just flexed my chest for the camera. But whatever. If you like hoodies, go over to Pure Truth Coffee, buy a hoodie. Here's a hint: if you buy a hoodie and add a mug to your cart, guess what? The mug is free. Or buy a hoodie, add a tumbler to the cart, guess what? The tumbler's half off. See, that's my stunned face. Oh, by the way, if you don't want that, you just want a hoodie or you just want a mug or you just want, an ammo can because we got a shit ton of ammo cans now because I accidentally ordered 20 too many. If you want an ammo can, actually, I ordered 30 too many because I have now a shit ton of the 30 caliber ones. But use code, what was it? Be Mine for Valentine's Day. BEMINE. If you use that code, guess what? guess what? You get 10% off, and then you could be my Valentine. Again, I want to give a big shout out. I didn't see who it was from, but someone sent me a 12-pack of Tic Tacs because I love Tic Tacs, and you sent it for Valentine's Day, so I appreciate that. Whoever that was that sent that. But yeah, okay. So this mass shooting last night, it's getting some publicity, but it's not getting as much as it should. And the reason why is because, well, the shooter was not what, typically the mass shooters are, right? According to mainstream media. Typically, according to mainstream media, we heard it today, 99% of all mass shootings are white offenders. Nope, actually, they're not. In fact, I think it's roughly about 70% of all mass shooting suspects are not white. But those are just little facts that nobody likes to hear, But yesterday, a 43-year-old black man walked into the Michigan State University and started randomly shooting people and killing people, targeting, I believe it was 2 specific classrooms, right? And he shot and killed 3 people, injured 5 others, several of whom are critical. And then he walked around terrorizing the college for several more hours until he was finally, I guess, cornered nearby where he lived in Lansing. Police, approached him. He shot himself, and he's no longer with us. And what's interesting about it is 2 schools in Ewing, New Jersey were actually shut down today because apparently on his body, he had threats to 2 elementary or middle or high schools in Ewing, New Jersey. And so they actually shut down those schools out of an abundance of caution, even though he was, deceased or is deceased. But mainstream media is not going to be hyper-focused on this story, and it's likely going to fade away as soon as another balloon or UFO or whatever you want to say is shot down. That's the truth. There's going to be a difference in what is reported in the media. And I'll be honest with you, it does have to do with race. I wish race didn't play a part in it. I wish they didn't talk about mass shooters as being white people because the majority of them are not. I wish they didn't talk about, if you focused on mass shootings because of the senseless violence that happens, I think you could unify a lot of people and say, hey, we have a major issue here. Because I've been highlighting mass shootings for the better part of a year now. Every single Monday, we do a mass shooting report, or we try to every Monday. I missed it yesterday. But we try to do a mass shooting report where we document all of the mass shootings that happen every single week in very descriptive detail. Because why? It's very important to understand that the majority of mass shootings are not committed by white kids. They're not committed by long guns. They're committed by criminals that have handguns. This guy was no different. He was a criminal that had a handgun. Now, there's some confusion about whether you are not, I know I have a tweet on Twitter that has gone viral today where I lay out all the details about this guy because from what I was able to find, he was prohibited from owning a weapon. I've seen, media reports that are contrary to that, saying his last conviction barred him from owning a gun. And because he didn't have the specific earmark of a felon in possession of a gun, he just had an illegal carrying a gun, that he was only convicted of misdemeanors. My perception and my belief, based on what little bit of research I did this morning before I did the tweet, was that he was a felon. And I still believe he's a felon. See, he was banned from owning a gun, but here's a bigger story. I know what you're saying, because a lot of people... a lot of the Democrats have been going after Michigan for a long time because they have relatively lax gun control policies. And when you compare it to New York, the Buffalo shooter who, New York had red flag laws and all that stuff, but it didn't work. It didn't stop this kid from going out and buying a gun and targeting people based on their race. It didn't stop the mental guy in St. Louis or wherever the fuck he was that walked in the hospital and shot people. Those red flag laws simply just do not work, right? They do not work, and the only time they work is when they're used improperly, right? To go after someone's guns, judges go after someone's guns, and then the person has to pay to actually get their right to own guns back without ever having been charged with a crime. Literally, without ever being charged with a crime. That's what they want to do. But anyway, Michigan, this has started that conversation again. So Michigan lawmakers right away, here's the thing that's funny, is I guess there's a meme, a Reddit meme or something of the shooter that was posted last night on social media while the shooting was active. And so everyone posted this photo of this white dude that was, said he was going to go shoot up the school or something like that, and acting like that was a shooter, even though the scanner traffic indicated that the suspect was black from almost the very beginning, right? But then there was a lot of confusion. If you listen to that scanner traffic last night, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. That was crazy, right? Because you had no idea what was going on. They're like, gunshots reported in this hallway, this gymnasium, this parking lot, because everyone was reporting gunshots. But then I guess some troublemakers in the school were setting off fireworks in bathrooms in the school during the shooting. It was really weird. You had eyewitness reports where they said 2 people were shooting or multiple people were shooting, or that other people told them multiple people were shooting. And it's very crazy. It's crazy stuff that was transpiring there. But at least the guy is gone. He took the coward's way out. He didn't face his, accusers. No, he just ended his life. But he never should have had a gun. Do you know how this could? Everyone says we have to restrict guns, take guns from legal gun owners to stop the people that are illegally possessing guns. Illegal. The people that are illegally possessing guns that are illegal because they are possessing them or they're stolen, right? So it's a whole bunch of illegalities there, right? Illegalities, involved with someone that isn't supposed to have a gun having a gun. But what about the fact that he was breaking the law anyway because the school was a safe haven? It was a gun-free zone, right? Everyone wants to take away legal guns, which isn't going to prevent the people that already have illegal guns from still committing the crimes that they're committing. You know what could have prevented more death yesterday in Michigan? And it could have prevented more death in pretty much every mass shooting across the United States, let alone robbery, anything. More people with guns. I know it's really crazy to say it that way. Well, what do you mean, Steve? You want to add more people with guns because then they can stop the bad people with guns? Yep, that's exactly what I'm saying. We have a policy here. We all own guns. I own guns. The store, I'm actually going to buy a sign and say guns are permitted in this premises and put that in the front of the store because I encourage every American to carry a gun. You should. Every American should carry a gun. I think when you turn 18, you should have to, in order to vote and shit, you should have to take a gun safety course and then the government should give you a gun and an acre of land. No, I'm just at it. But that's what I believe because that's the only way you're going to stop this senseless violence that's happening across the country. For one, you can curb all of the bad incidents of gun-related crimes or the accidental shootings and all that stuff because then you're forcing everybody that owns a gun or everybody that has a gun. You know that everybody, for example, you don't get a driver's license unless you take a test to prove that you're competent, right? I would make the argument that you shouldn't be able to own a gun unless you prove that you know how to store that gun safely, utilize that gun, load that gun, because what's worse than a person, a criminal with a gun? Someone that's carrying a gun that doesn't know how to use it. It's someone illegal, someone legally possessing a gun that doesn't know how to shoot it. I think everyone should have mandatory training. I think it should be high school. Let's bring back home ec. Remember that? Let's bring back home ec. And then we have a gun safety portion of that. And we teach people, seniors, how to use guns and balance a checkbook, even though you don't need to do that anymore. Do they even have paper checks? I don't know. I don't have any. But that would be nice. But that's my belief. But that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So the only thing we can do is, they'll say thoughts and prayers, unless you're a Democrat from Michigan, and then you'll say, F your thoughts and prayers. Now we have to take away legal guns, which doesn't stop this rampant crime wave that's happening across the United States. Doesn't keep anybody safe. Think about all the mass shootings that have happened so far, say the past 6 months, right? You got the Buffalo mass shooting. Based on New York's red flag laws, he should have lost his right to own a gun because just like 11 months prior, he threatened to shoot up his high school. The law enforcement investigated him. In fact, I believe he was charged with it and then it was dropped. But the law enforcement never actually submitted that documentation to the state to have his gun rights removed. Same thing with the what was it? Parade shooter? The parade shooter. Same thing. He couldn't qualify for a gun, so his dad bought him a gun. And the dad has been charged. And then you have the other one in Texas. The person had mental incapacities, but they were able to go buy a gun. No, that wasn't Texas. It was another state that had red flag laws. I don't know which one it was. But another state that had red flag laws where they simply didn't work because the people that were worried about his behavior, the doctors and everybody, never reported it. And that's the problem. And you know where red flag laws do go into effect? Say for some reason, I don't say you live in North Carolina, right? And you invite a realtor to your house. Or you invite, I just said a realtor because they can come in people's homes. But say you're anybody, right? And you invite someone to your house. Say you have a problem with someone, right? And you make a, you're drinking with your buddy. You piss him off. You guys end up fighting. You break him up a little bit because he's weak and blah, blah, blah. But he's got a vengeance. Like, he's pissed. He's pissed at you, right? And he can't press charges. So what's he do? He goes to a judge and he files court papers and he says that you're a risk and you threaten to kill him, right? And he makes up all the information. And the judge, some bleeding heart liberal, says, all right, we're going to take his guns. And the whole police department comes and they take your guns. And then guess what happens? Under the red flag laws. This is true. This is really what happens. And there's the only thing they have is a court order. You haven't been charged with anything, nothing like that. And so what do you have to do to be able to get that judge to issue the guns back? You got to prove that you're not a risk, even though you never were a risk in the first place. But because you got to do it in the eyes of the law, you got to hire an attorney. See, you got to hire an attorney to get your constitutional Second Amendment rights back because you're no longer permitted to own a gun because someone lied and said something about it. That is the issue with red flag laws. And they're never going to be able to stop that from happening because, well, they can't even get PPP people, or they can't even get people to not abuse the PPP loans, which should have never happened in the first place. You know what I mean? But that's the truth. The only way you can stop mass shootings in the United States is by allowing every single civilian to be armed. And there's plenty of cases where civilians armed were able to stop shootings. There's plenty of them. The first one that comes to mind is Ohio. Remember, there was someone shooting into a group of people in Ohio, and a woman pulled out a gun she was legally carrying and shot him, killed him, saved all those lives. What about the people that are carjacking people, right? And then the people pull out guns and save it. There was just someone, the carjackings in D.C. are like every night, so we see them on our local news. They arrested, or they were searching for a suspect that was involved, a black teenager, and then a black male, both armed. And then the other black male, his age was between 7 and 10 years old. Yep, it was on the news, my local news. One black teenager armed, a 7 to 10-year-old also armed, that carjacked someone in D.C. Who's responsible for that? As a kid? Sure, a little bit. But who really should be responsible? The mom, the dad. That's who should be responsible. You want to stop gun violence? You want to stop mass shootings? Force parents to be parents. Force people to care about their kids. A novel concept, I know, but it's true. Trust me, it's true. If you force parents to parent their children, guess what's going to happen? People are going to wake up. People are going to pay attention. And that is the truth. You may not like it, but that is the truth. Someone said, why are nonviolent felons prohibited from owning a gun? Because they shouldn't own a gun. They're nonviolent felons. They're still felons. You lose your right to own a gun. And see, these were laws. I don't believe felons should have guns. That's my personal, unless you live in Alaska or something, you need to be able to shoot a grizzly as it's coming to eat your kids. I don't believe felons should own guns. I do believe there should be a path to get your guns back, which many states do have now, the restoration of rights or something. But I don't think felons should own guns because you ultimately broke the law. You broke the law at one point in your life. You know, that's my belief. Yeah, but that's the truth. I mean, a lot of people hate to hear it. You know, a lot of people hate to hear the truth because it just reminds you that we could actually fix it. Like, Democrats hate to hear it because it reminds them that if we actually work together, we could hear it. You know, like there was a hearing today. Oh, so this is a segue to the next story. So before I do that, guys, my last pitch at the coffee side, not one sale. Come on, I see one person checking out, but not one sale. You guys like the show, support it, buy a coffee. Like, I hate to say it, but I actually have to. Otherwise, I can't keep doing it. If you like this show, please buy a coffee. You know what I mean? That's buy a bag of coffee. Buy a Patriotic as F bundle. You get all these things. I'm bringing this hat home for my wife because she has to wear a camel hat to school tomorrow. Look, and so I put that patch on it because it's funny. But we give you patches. They all come in an ammo can. Our Patriotic as F bundles are sick as shit. They come in an ammo can. You got a book. You got a custom piece of drinkware. Declaration of Independence in a whiskey glass. That was the last one. The Constitution is the next one. You got books. I already said that. Patches, stickers, a bag of coffee of your choosing, 2 t-shirts or a hoodie, depending on what you want, for $105. You're not going to find a deal better. And if you use code BMIND, even it works on the Patriotic boxes. Go do that. Save yourself up, $10. But I need people to do it. I really do. You know, we need people to buy every single day, if possible. Hold on, I'm hearing the interference. There we go. Sorry, because you guys were probably hearing that too. So use code BMINE. You save 10%. Even if you buy coffee. My restock of coffee was supposed to come today, so now it's going to be coming tomorrow. So we'll have shit tons of coffee. I'll be packaging and sending that out the moment it gets here tomorrow. And the rest of the patriotic boxes, I'm waiting for the freaking glasses so I can send those out to you. But I need you guys to go to the store and do it. All right, last story. Last story. Someone said I would buy tea and hot chocolate. Well, no, we carry that for free in our free store. Right here, you know, because every day we have a free coffee shop. So keep in mind, all you liberals that want free shit all the time, free welfare, free college, free healthcare, all that stuff, right? I literally went a little liberal on you guys and set up a free coffee shop where people can come in and get coffee, get hot chocolate, get tea. Eventually, they're going to get free bottled water, all that stuff right in the store. And yes, we do have some people that are coming in every day and getting free coffee, and that's what it's there for. That's what we encourage you to do. So every dollar that you spend in our store essentially provides 2 free cups of coffee. And if you want a free coffee shop in your neighborhood so you can enjoy some of the best damn coffee, get in my store and buy some shit. Let's be honest. Let's be honest with you. All right, anyway. So the last thing I wanted to talk about today, this is a pretty good show. The last thing I wanted to talk about today was this hearing. This hearing that we covered today. It was sad. It was about child trafficking on social media. It was about bullying and all the stuff that happens on social media and how social media is not held accountable, which I 100% agree with, right? We need to crack down on child trafficking. We need to crack down on these ads that target children and all that stuff. But I believe parenting has a big thing in it, you know, but there was a parent there that did everything they could to protect their kid, and their kid still, you know, ended their life, which is tragic and horrible. And I don't wish that on anybody. But the one thing is the Democrats and Republicans were unified, and they kept pointing it out too. They were unified in their response to this heinous, or the way social media is handling things. And their response is essentially to repeal, like, who was it? Josh Hawley, I think, said if we have to repeal Section 230, we'll do it. Again, and a lot of people can back, you know, repealing Section 230, but I hope you know what you're doing. Because when you repeal Section 230, you remove the protections for the social media companies, right? So say I say something about someone, right, and they don't like me, and I don't like them, they could sue me right now. I mean, they could do that now. Right? Matter of fact, we have 2 lawsuits currently that are just sitting there doing nothing for $5.5 million because someone didn't like our factual reporting and tried to sue us for it. We kind of destroyed them in the sanctions hearing, but whatever, you know, because that's the beautiful part about facts. When you have facts, they're facts. you can't make them up. They're real, you know, and we could back everything up. So then it got quiet after that because they're like, oh shit, he brings receipts. So they shut up after that. Anyway, or it could be because they're all under federal indictment. I don't want to say it's because of my reporting. And they're not all under federal indictment. One is. The other 2 are under state charges. But whatever. And I don't want to say it's because of my reporting, but it happened after my reporting, so I'm going to say it's because of my reporting. Yep. What else? Oh, so the interesting thing about the way Section 230 works, it basically prevents you from suing me if I say something that pisses you off. Hold on, I got to fix this. It's annoying the crap out of me. All right. Because you guys may not hear it, but I hear like a whistle. Because the sound system was effing up. The way Section 230 works is it protects you. Oh, look at that. You bought a bag of coffee. Oh, you bought the Frank 01. Yeah, Paul. Shout out to you, homie. Oh, you did the coffee club, too. He's in the club. Why aren't you in the club? He's in the club. He did the monthly coffee club, I think. Or no, you bought 2 bags. Almost in the club, but 2 bags. But and to be honest, you're all in the club. Anybody who buys a bag and puts it at subscriptions, like where it's going to deliver every 2 weeks or month or whatever, you're automatically in the coffee club as well. Newsflash. But yeah, so the way it works is with Section 230 protection means that they could sue me if I defame someone or I say something bad or they just want to waste my time or money. They could sue me, but they can't sue like YouTube. They can't sue Twitter. They can't sue Facebook because they have Section 230 protection, right? Now, what's different, and that's the argument that Republicans and Democrats, are arguing at, is that they want to remove Section 230 protections, albeit for different reasons. The Democrats want to remove Section 230 protections because they know that if they remove Section 230 protections, social media will have to take action against Republican or conservative or whatever views that run contrary to the narrative of the company, right? So like all the COVID stuff, that's the easiest way to say it. Look at all the COVID stuff, everything that got flagged in 2020 on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook. With all of that stuff, it was mass reported and all of that. And here's the thing, you don't need a case. You don't need to be able to make a case because you could break someone financially. That's what the people that sued me, they're on the record. We have all the videos. That's why I wish it would go to a trial because we could just play the videos and they'll guilty as shit. Because they're literally on the record of saying they don't care about winning. The people that sue all these people all the time, they don't care about winning. They just have money and they hope that you don't have enough money to defend it, so you settle and they make more money. That's how it works. And so all these companies or all of these people, if they didn't have Section 230 protections, could then go and sue Twitter, could sue Facebook, could sue YouTube, and they won't allow it. So you know what happens, and that's what Democrats want. They want to remove that protection or threaten to remove that protection, so that way the social media giants continue to censor people that the Democrats disagree with. Now, Republicans, on the other hand, they want to remove Section 230 protection because they feel that Twitter, YouTube, Facebook are already censoring conservatives. And they're saying if you're going to censor us and you're making editorial decisions to censor us, meaning you are you are deciding what is allowed on your platform, you're not covered by Section 230 protections. Therefore, you're not entitled to them. So you see where it's like contradictory, right? Because the Democrats want to remove Section 230 protection so they could censor, so big tech could censor more. Republicans want to remove Section 230 protection, and because that way they could sue when they're censored. And so it works against each other. But here's another premonition. If they do go after Section 230 protection, and if for some reason it was able to get overturned, or they repealed Section 230 protections for big tech specifically, it would be the end of big tech. It would be the end of social media. Because no matter what, I could tweet out something, someone couldn't like it, and they could sue YouTube. It would cost them a tremendous amount of money to answer every single frivolous lawsuit that would be filed. You know damn well that every time someone says something controversial and that offended anybody, they would go after it. People would go after the social media companies because they're not going to go after the little, anonymous account that posted something. No, they're going to go after the big social media accounts because that is what they want. And so I just wish everybody would pay attention. You know what I mean? Someone said the censor isn't just to conservatives. No, everybody's censored. Republicans and Democrats are both censored. Republicans want to feel like they're censored more than Democrats. Democrats want to feel that they're not. It's the whole thing is stupid. Like we all have to sit down. Like imagine a bipartisan approach to like the border, or a bipartisan approach to fentanyl, or a bipartisan approach to ending violence in cities. I don't care. If you want to talk about equity and all that shit, you talk about it in schools, but you ignore it in your cities. Like, go figure that out. Go figure that out. You want to solve the gun crisis in this country? Stop talking about equity in rural Oklahoma because it doesn't matter there as much as it matters in New York City. Talk about equity there. Keep equity out of schools. Talk about it in the level of poverty. And the level of income. I have no problem. And see, I differ from a lot of you guys, right? I differ. Excuse me. I'd rather all the money that I pay in taxes, instead of going to Ukraine, I'd rather go to lower income communities in New York for grants, right? Set up grants to help lower income individuals start businesses of their own, or training programs or something like that. And I know a lot of people that watch this disagree with that. They don't want, handouts. They don't want people to get free money, and I understand that. But it's investing in our future. It's not about what I want. It's about what will allow my kids to be successful. You know what I mean? And that's where I am now. And I wasn't always that way. I wasn't always that way because I don't necessarily believe in handouts, but I also believe that sometimes people need a helping hand. You know what I mean? And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. And if you've ever given like a homeless person $5 on the street, you also agree that, and you at one point felt that people need a helping hand. I would much rather my tax dollars go to Americans that are in need. And I'm not saying give them all stipends or nothing like that. No. Set up grant programs, set up, business resources, set up businesses that will employ, give tax breaks to businesses that open locations in low poverty, low income places. Chrissy bought French vanilla. Shout out to you for the French vanilla. French vanilla bag of coffee. Shout out to you. But yeah. And that's my belief. That's what I think people should do. Speaking about what I think people should do, I'll be honest with you. Right now, our total sales are about 1% of our total viewers. No, 10% of our total viewers, which is bad. We should have sales that equal 100% of our total viewers. And I hate like you guys know I hate, and I've been on a kick, right? Because I need to keep expanding the company, right? So I've been on a heavy push to make as much money as we can with the store. And we've made a huge dent, mind you. But I need more. So what I need is you guys right now to go to puretruthcoffee.com, use code BMIND, buy a bag of coffee, buy a hoodie, buy a t-shirt, buy a mug, buy whatever you want. Just everyone go, as many people as you can, just go buy something from the store. Because what it does is it helps me, it helps all the other people that are behind us, and it helps us to be able to keep doing what we're doing every day. But hell yeah, that was a good show. I feel good about it. How many of you guys liked today's show? I think it was pretty good. This is what I want you to do. If you're watching on YouTube, I would love for you to leave a comment. It doesn't matter what YouTube channel you're watching on. I would love for you to leave a comment when the live stream's over. And just be like, you know what, Steve? 2 + 2 is 4. That's what I want you to say. What is 2 + 2? And you type 4 in the chat or something. So that way it helps the engagement. More people get to see the video. And that's the goal. Because I realized something again last night. I realized something, actually, it's because April sent me a message the other day. And she said I didn't need to respond, so I didn't. But now she knows that I actually got the message. And she says your shows have been good. And I thought about it for a minute, and I haven't had more fun. I'm having trouble sleeping and doing all that stuff because I'm back talking about news every day. But I'm reaching people. And for every day that I'm going live, there's at least one new person that's listening and getting a different perspective. Whether or not they agree with me, it doesn't even matter. They're hearing a different perspective. And that is why I do this show every day. I'm not getting rich doing it because you guys aren't buying fucking coffee. And I decided to open a free coffee shop. But you know what? I do it because I'm getting something from it, or you're getting something from it. So if you did get something from it, go to Pure Truth Coffee, use code BMIND, save 10%, buy a bag of coffee. And if you don't drink coffee, give it to someone else. Buy a mug, buy a tumbler, buy an ammo can. We got 30 caliber and 50 caliber ammo cans, 30 and 50 caliber ammo cans. Buy one of those suckers. Buy a t-shirt, buy a hoodie, buy whatever, just a little bit. We don't use Afterpay, but we have Shop Pay, which is the same thing, Katrina. So you'll qualify for Shop Pay if you use Afterpay. So you can use Shop Pay and break up the payments if you want like a patriotic box. Or we've had people use Shop Pay to buy the yearly Patriotic SF bundle. Let me talk about that real quick. So our Patriotic SF bundle, it's an ammo can that has a custom piece of drinkware, custom book, stickers, patches, hats, t-shirts, or a hoodie, and a bag of coffee. You choose which one. And you get it for $105. And we do a new one every month, basically. I kind of announce in the show when it's a new one. Like right now, if you ordered last month, or you have one that's shipping or one that's going to ship already, if you order today, you're essentially getting a new book. And if you don't email me saying, because the way it works is you can email me and say, hey, Steve, I just placed an order. Here's my order number. I would like this t-shirt and this t-shirt. Within 24 hours, you'll typically get a reply that says, okay, done. And meaning the t-shirts that are already in our store. Same thing with a hoodie. You would just say, Steve, I would like this hoodie. And I say, okay. Yay. After 24 hours, they've got bada bing. Thank you, Ben, for buying some coffee. French vanilla. Good choice. Wait till you open that fucking box and you smell that coffee. Oh, my God. I don't even drink, a flavored coffee, but the French vanilla smells amazing. But yeah, we've had a couple of people that have done the yearly coffee or the yearly patriotic SF bundles, which is pretty expensive. It's like $1,200 for the year because you get 10 bucks. You're paying for 10, but you get 2 free. And you get free shipping on all your bundles. And wait, there's more. And what you get is a 20% off coupon that you can use in our store for life. The coupon's good for life. So you can use it for life. It's amazing. So if you want to take advantage of that deal, April just put that link in there in the description of this video, and you can use ShopPay for that. We've had viewers do it. So I think it breaks down your payment to like $300 a month for 4 months. And it's very manageable. It's very manageable. Didn't you hear inflation went down today? I fact-checked that on Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you should. It's kind of fire. And yeah, I said fire because I'm young and I've been watching all that cool stuff. I'm not young. I'm old, but I'm pretending I'm young by saying that shit's fire. Fire. You know what I'm saying? All right, go over to Pure Truth Coffee. Everybody, please. Go over to Pure Truth Coffee and please go do it. You know, because the more we get, someone like Michelle Johnson said, perhaps you did this. How about a podcast where you talk about the free coffee store and your podcast in addition to the coffee group? I don't know what you mean by that. But are you talking about like doing interviews with people that come into the free coffee shop? Because like today, there was nobody there were people that came in, but they're the regulars now. Because we have regulars that just come in for the free coffee and they talk for a second and then they leave. And then we've had other people, because typically they don't understand the concept of why I'm giving it away for free. So I have to sit there and talk, and then they're like, I still don't get it. And then I try to explain more. And I'm essentially, basically what I tell them is you guys and your support of the website and you guys buying coffee allows me to give away coffee, tea, and hot chocolate free of charge here. You know, and then we get into, they're like, what do you mean your viewers? And then so we get in a conversation about the podcast. And then I always warn them it's a political podcast. And once I say political, then we get in a political talk. And typically I'm like, I'm kind of live actually right now because we've been covering all the hearings. I got to go back and deal with that. So, but yeah, we've had some good conversations already. It's surprising how many people that say they don't talk about politics because that's how it starts. And then they're all very opinionated. And guess what? They're all like, even the independents seem to be a little bit more conservative. Because I think we have a conservative independent thing going on, right? Because I'm not a Republican anymore. I used to be. I'm a conservative. There's a difference. And I hope you all agree. Guys, everyone, right now, ready? How many people do I have? 569 people that are watching on social media, plus another couple hundred that are watching on Rumble, probably. Let's see how many. 74 that are watching on Rumble. In the chat right now, there's a link. Join the coffee club. If all 500 of you join this coffee club, even if you do the monthly membership, holy shit. And I'll tell you what, if I get 10 monthly memberships, we already have one today, I believe. If I get 10 monthly members, I'll give one of you guys coffee for a year. That means you could pay $40, get your monthly membership, and cancel next month if you don't win free coffee for a year. How about that? How about them apples? I'll do that drawing tomorrow morning. And or tomorrow when I go live, and we'll see you. But go and do it. Become a coffee club member. Drink amazing coffee. You get a discount that way. And if you do our yearly coffee plan, like I'll say it real quick. If you do our yearly patriotic as F bundle plan, right? And then I give you the 20% off coupon, but you say you want to do our yearly coffee plan as well, then I will send you a special link, and then you get coffee for cheaper than I pay for it. No joke. And delivered to your door every month for free. So, I mean, we have deals for days because we need you guys to sign up and join our plan. But there you go. Someone said, is your bald spot growing? Yeah, it is. I'm getting old, bruh. Getting old. And it's because of comments like that, Thomas. My hair is long. Normally, I cut it before you can really see it. But whatever. Now watch. I'll start wearing a hat tomorrow because of fucking Thomas's comment. All right, right there in the chat. Join the club. All right, we'll see you all tomorrow.